Okay, good afternoon, everyone. The governor of Mississippi just spoke recently to update everybody with his Safer at Home order. So I want to kind of let everybody know how that is going to be integrated and applied in Southaven. So basically what he decided to do is just extend the Safer at Home, which will go now till Monday, May 25th at 8 a.m. The only significant things that he changed, I'm about to get into, but before I say that, the main thing that he wanted to reiterate to everyone is that we understand that our economy is struggling. You know, it's time to get people back to work. It's time to get people back to their normal lives. But he did want to remind everybody that, you know, we're not out of the woods yet. You know, it's still risky. This virus is still having a significant impact on the health and public safety of our state. So that applies to Southaven too. So, you know, even though we're opening some things back up, if you are older or if you have any kind of underlying health condition, we're going to encourage you to use every safeguarding measure to keep yourself safe. So, but basically, his order, effective immediately today, May the 8th, has opened salons and barbershops. So he is listening, as I told the city Tuesday night at our board meeting. I believe the governor is truly listening to mayors around the state, and so he did listen to us, so that's good news. Let me back up just a second and remind everybody that anything that is not discussed today or that the governor did not put in his most recent order remains unchanged. So if we don't talk about it, nothing has changed. It still reverts back to his initial order. So salons and barbershops, that's great news. We're excited about that. And I will tell you that I'm going to go ahead and interpret that in Southaven to also include tattoo parlors. So all that will be open. The governor's order, every business owner would be encouraged to go read the strict, detailed social distancing and strict hygiene and health screening guidelines that the governor placed in his order. Just to give you a highlight of some of that, they'll only be with salons and barbershops, one patron at a time per employee or per server. So still going to limit the size of the gatherings. All patrons need to remain 6 feet apart. No indoor waiting area, and there'll be mandatory facial coverings for both the server and the patron, and also gloves are mandatory for every server. The next thing that we're excited about, and I know the people in our city are going to be really super excited about, is gyms will be open. So in Southaven again, we're going to go ahead and make that interpretation that a gym is not just a health and fitness gym, it's also going to include dance, gymnastics, martial arts studios, and all other indoor athletic training facilities. So they're going to open, and again, I ask every business owner to go back and look at the governor's order, because he's very detailed with the social distancing, hygiene, and health screening guidelines. Basically, the main thing that people need to know that there is going to be a 30% occupancy limitation for those facilities. As I stated earlier, anything that's not addressed remains unchanged. I do want to talk about a couple of things that are noteworthy that I've reached out and tried to get answers on, and I've not really been able to get clarification. The first thing is anything that we're not talking about today, you're still going to have indoor facility limitations of 10 people or less. If it's an outdoor gathering, that's going to be limited to 20 people or less. We're hoping that May 25th that will be relaxed even more. Specifically, I know everyone wants to know about churches, so I'm going to be real bold with you today and tell you what I know. I don't know everything I'd like to know. I've reached out to the governor's office for clarification. I've not really gotten that, so I'm just going to tell you how things stand today and then make a few other comments. But basically, there's been no update, no change to that. So what happens is we revert back to the initial order, and in that initial order, I'm going to read to you what that order states, and I'm going to let you draw your own conclusions by that. In the initial order, it states that religious entities, including religious and faith-based facilities, entities and groups, and religious gatherings, are deemed essential, provided that they adhere to the CDC and the Mississippi Department of Health recommendations and guidance to prevent the spread of COVID-19. So then if you dig a little deeper, you go to the State Health Department's website, this is what they say. The Mississippi Department of Health continues to state that in-person church services are not safe, and that social distancing and limited gatherings to 10 people or less is critical. Now that's what's out there. That's the same language that's been there for several weeks. Anyone that's kept up with my statements, I've made statement after statement to the effect that it's time to get our businesses open, our churches back open as safely as possible. So I'd like to give you more clarity with that, but with that being said, I've not been given any other details. I'm going to continue to reach out to the governor's office, and there'll be a follow-up comment by me in the early part of next week. And then I'll just close up today. That's basically all that's changing. I just want to continue to reiterate that the data that I've communicated Tuesday night and I've repetitively communicated shows that this virus has not been what we feared it would be, back in mid-March. We do have our own data now. It is a very serious risk, but when you look at the statistics in DeSoto County, Mississippi, and the Memphis Metro, it just leads any reasonable person to know that it's time to get our businesses back open and get our lives back to normal. So again, don't misquote me that I'm saying it's not risky. I'm just saying that we now face other health risks and economic risks that are outweighing the risk of this virus. So for that reason, I'll continue to press for a reopening and getting everybody back to normal. And again, I just want to thank the people of our city. This is tough. Throughout this whole process, we get pieces of information, pieces of changes. It's hard to relate that to what the previous order was, how that affects us now. It's been frustrating, and I know everyone's made tremendous sacrifices. So I just want to say thanks to the people of Southaven, and I want to say stay safe, hang in there with us, and we're gonna move quicker and finally get back to normal. Thanks again.